Hey everyone, how's it going? We are live here on YouTube. Welcome to today's exciting episode of the Technicolor Mike B Show. So I don't do it very often, but I thought, hey, I really like the giraffe design from the other day. Let's give it a try one more time, but this time let's change up the colors and make it look a little bit more alien. So this was our design inspiration for the G is for giraffe design the other day, and this is the drawing that I came up for changing into a alien design with some purples and blues and greens and pink colors. So yeah, I just thought I would give that same design a try, but change it up and see how it would look if it was alien instead of a giraffe. So yeah, that is what we did for today. So yeah, since we were talking about graduation last time, I figured I could continue that talking about graduation, since it is that time of year after all. And so yeah, we were talking about kindergarten graduation, and I told a while ago a story about my first day of the first grade, and how we had moved into the house of the former principal of the school, and the bus driver was like, hey, I've been in your house, I knew the family that lived there. And when we got to school, I was like, I have no idea where I'm going, what I'm supposed to do, because I've never been in the first grade before. Never gone to that school. So yeah, I went to Our Lady of the Wayside Catholic School in Arlington Heights, Illinois, for my grade school education, and I was there for 8 years, from the first grade up to the 8th grade. And there's just something special, I think, about spending 8 years at the same school. Some of my classmates, they had gone to that school for kindergarten and preschool, so they were there longer than me. But 8 years is a really long time, especially when you're a kid and you're by the time you're graduating, you spent more than half of your life at one school. And our school had about 60 kids per grade level, and most years we were divided up into 3 classes. So we had three first grade teachers, 3 second grade teachers, and so on. The 7th and 8th grade, our class size had shrunk a little bit, and in those grades, we spent more time changing subjects. So we had a science teacher, a math teacher, an English language teacher, a history teacher. So we only had 2 homeroom classes our 7th and 8th grade year. So we were just split into two groups that year for our homeroom activities. But the other years we had 3. And with a group of just 60 kids, and you spend 8 years with them, you get to know all of them. Some you like, some you don't. But yeah, it was, to me, it was a special time to have that same relationship, the same familiarity year after year with the same kids. So even though I had a different teacher each year, and each year they sort of divided the alphabet up, or the kids up, a little differently. So one year they may have done 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3, and the next year they might have done 1 1 2 2 3 3 1 1 2 2 3 3, to sort of split us up into different groups and different teachers, so we weren't the same 20 kids year to year, that we got to interact with everyone. And as far as the classes were concerned, there were some activities like PE that we did as a grade level, and other activities that we did as just our class, just our group. So yeah, we got to know all of the kids, and I think the one thing when you're in like a school, you always look to who are the oldest students, and you're like, oh, one year I am going to be that 8th grader, that oldest kid in school, the big guys on campus, and have all the other kids look up to us. See, so we had 8 years to prepare for being the big kids on campus. Our 8th grade year was a special year because we took a class trip. So yeah, the school was in the suburbs of Illinois, and our class trip was flying out to Washington, D.C., where we spent, I think, like 2 days in Washington, D.C., and then like took a bus down to Colonial Williamsburg and spent another day down there. So yeah, that was a fun trip, and one of the more memorable things that we got to do as 8th graders, that come graduation time, that was the culmination of all those years of spending time with those same classmates, those same friends, the same group of kids year after year after year. And going to a Catholic school, I'd say half of my graduating class was going to continue on at the Catholic high school, and the other half of my class was going to move on to public school. So that was the last year that we would all be together, that we would all be going to different schools that next year. So yeah, so I went from a grade school class of 56, where we were the big kids on campus, to a high school that had 435 kids, and we were the freshmen. We were our freshman class was 435 kids. So, and 30 of my former classmates had gone over to that same high school. So yeah, there were 400 kids I had never had class with before, and I only had class with like 1 or 2 of the kids from my grade school, because we all wound up on different math courses, different science courses. High school, you pick your electives. Do you want to take foreign language? Which foreign language? Do you want to take art? Do you want to take music? What do you want to do? So I went from having lots of close friends that I hung out with, and only one of my really close friends from 8th grade continued on to high school with me. And our freshman year, I think we had lunch together, and we were both in the same history class, world history, together. And that was the only class that we shared together. And so high school was a hard time, because you're in your puberty years. You start high school at like 14, maybe 15, 13, 14, 15, depending on when your birthday is and all that. And you're in a school with 17 and 18-year-olds, maybe even some of the classes with 17 and 18-year-olds. So it's a harder time. And high school, you're preparing for what you're going to do for the rest of your life. You're going to go off to college. What are you going to study? Grade school was just more about having friends and learning, and really learning how to interact with other people. My goal as a grade school student was to become an astronaut. Yeah, I loved the idea of flying on the space shuttle and going into outer space. And it was my 7th grade year when the Challenger accident happened that January day. Because that was the mission with the teacher in space, we were watching it on TV when it happened. That was probably the only space shuttle launch that we watched in our classroom. I think there had been other ones that I could see from home, because they were on a weekend or an evening or during the summer. But we were in our classroom, and we had the TV set on, and we were watching, and that sort of shattered my childhood dreams of growing up and being an astronaut. The space program, NASA, sort of said, hey, we have to figure out why this happened, and they stopped flying for a while. So yeah, once I'm in high school and I'm thinking, hey, what's my career going to be? It's looking less like being an astronaut is a reality. So I went with the next best thing, becoming a chemical engineer. So yeah, that was what I wanted to be when I finished high school. I actually have a degree in chemical engineering and have not spent one day of my professional career as an engineer. So much for getting a degree in something you're going to use for the rest of your life. I'm not going to say that the skills I learned, the problem solving, the teamwork, and the other sort of how to approach problems and solve them, things like that, those came in very handy, but the actual engineering equations and skills, not quite as much. But yeah, so but 8th grade, that was an incredible year, and I did not realize at the time how much I would miss those days of spending with the same kids, the same friends, playing baseball, whatever, at recess, hanging out after school. Yeah, it's just those are just a special age time, and we can't get to those years back. So if you have kids who are in grade school, make sure that they treasure the opportunities they have and the friends they make those years, and hopefully they will become lifelong friends. So this is my alien balloon. He's got his space helmet on. He can't breathe the oxygen like I can, so he has to have a helmet on so he can breathe. But aren't we just like twins? Yep, all aliens look alike, right? So yeah, until next time, see you later, alligator. After a while, crocodile. Thanks for watching.